right, so I'm going to be talking about a very exciting, brand new Nigerian movie titled The Arbitration. It's a Ni Akimolayo movie. I just saw it this past weekend, and I definitely have to talk to you about it. So before you go watch it, sit down, relax, enjoy the show, and I'll be right back.
He had sex with me against my will.
You did not rape her?
No.
You did not coerce her?
No.
Why did you sleep with her?
I love her.
Alright guys, welcome back. So like I said, the movie I'm talking about today is titled The Arbitration. It's a Nigerian movie directed by Ni Akimolayo. You would know Ni Akimolayo if you've either seen Make a Move with Ukeje or Out of Luck or Falling and now The Arbitration. So let's get started. The movie features Adesua, Etomi, Ukeje, Somkele Halama, Ireti, Doyle, Beverly, Naya, Shido was in this movie as well. It was so good to see him again, and a host of other actors and actresses. So the movie tells the story of a particular couple played by Ukeje and Adesua Etomi. You know, they were dating for a while, they had sexual relations going on, whatnot, and ended up in arbitration with Adesua suing Osi for reasons that we didn't quite understand until, you know, of course, we ventured into the movie. So I'm rating this movie 4/5, and I'm going to describe it arguably as one of the best movies I've seen out of Nollywood this year. Yes, it was that good. Let me start with the director, Ni Akimolayo. Ni Akimolayo is a fantastic and talented director, and it just keeps getting better because if you've seen Make a Move, and you've seen Out of Luck, and you've seen Falling, you realize that at every stage, he has done something different. He's done something better. Do you understand? And now with Arbitration, I describe Arbitration as one of his best works yet. Okay, now, so let's move on to the casting. Ni obviously has a soft spot for Adesua Etomi because Adesua has been in 3 of his biggest movies, you know, Out of Luck, Falling, and now The Arbitration. And she played the lead in Falling and also the lead in The Arbitration. So you can understand why I'm saying, right, you know, rightly so, because Adesua is a fantastic actress. But I'm just calling you out, Dani. We know you love Adesua, yeah? We can tell. Anyway, so Adesua, of course, was a fantastic actress in this movie as well, no exception. Now, let's move on to Ukeje. I have a huge, mighty crush on Osi, so you guys already know that. I'm just going to move on. The person that brought life to the camera the moment she stepped in was Ireti. That woman has a presence. She just has this thing where when you just see her talking, herself and Tinamba, yes, both of them, they have this thing where the moment they get on camera, it's just like, you know, like I'm here and it's me and something, you know. So she had that grace and presence in this film, and I really appreciated that as well. The cast in entirety had good chemistry and they worked well together. Now, Osi and Adesua in particular, their chemistry was, you can't use knife to cut it. You have to use like a saw, you know, or a sword or something to cut it. The chemistry was hot. And especially, let's talk about Adesua, because Adesua can have chemistry with anything, even a tree. She will develop chemistry. You make a tree look desirable to you. So with both of them together, they were fire, they were magic on screen, and I absolutely loved it. So the one person I cannot but talk about is Shido. You guys already know he's a legend. He's an amazing actor, really. But in this particular movie, there was a scene that just kind of struck me like, wow. In that particular scene, Beverly Naya came into the scene, and you could tell by his accent that he was excited about it, about Beverly Naya. However, by the time she was leaving that scene, his demeanor was completely opposite, and it was evident. He didn't have to say anything. He didn't have to do anything. It was just evident in his facial expressions and his acting, and I just thought that was genius. So with such a cast, you can only expect that you have amazing acting. You know, the acting in this movie was seamless. You know, and it was very, very easy to enjoy. And the way, the care and with the caution with which they delivered their lines, you could tell they put extra work into delivering those lines. Like, they were very careful so that you wouldn't miss anything, or so that you wouldn't get lost, you know, in the tiny little details. Of course, I'm going to come back to that real quick. Still talking about the acting, there were little details that were enjoyable for me, that just played with your eyes, you know, so that you don't get bored watching the movie last, like with Adesua snapping on the rubber band on her hand, you know, or someone tapping their pen on the table, or just something, you know, just because so your eyes would have a lot to work with. Again, that goes to the director. Moving on to what I thought sold this movie for me was the editing. In fact, I'm expecting an AMVCA for best editing for this movie. That was how good the editing was. Because with such a storyline that with which you have to keep going back and forth, past, present, it's very easy for people to get lost in the whole transitioning and back and forth and all of that, or for people to get bored. But this movie, with the editing, they had a very good flow and good transition, and they transitioned at the appropriate times. Camera angles, cinematography, beautiful, very enjoyable. I love the way the cameras, you know, will pan and the angles from which we were watching, you know, all of those little things made the movie very interesting. Now, let's move on to things I didn't quite appreciate about the movie. Number one, the sound. The sound was a bit, it wasn't crisp, you know, it wasn't the best sound. I saw it at the cinema and it was a bit windy or watery, just a little bit. Okay, so with this movie, we had to listen a lot and we had to depend on the lines and the conversations a lot. If not, you get lost in the storyline. You won't quite understand a few things. But even when you do listen, for a mind that's not business savvy, you probably wouldn't understand it. And then the companies they were mentioning, it's one of those movies where you would have to actually think over to completely understand, you know, what they were talking about. So I just thought maybe that could have been broken down just a bit more for just people, that everyday people that probably wouldn't understand business or, you know, the technical aspects of it. Now, talking about technicalities, one part that really got to me was the legal aspect of it, because as you guys know, I'm a lawyer. I know I don't practice, but I still count as a lawyer. Anyway, I digress. So the legal aspect of this movie was a tad bit confusing, because the movie started out with them talking about using rape and sexual harassment interchangeably. And I was like, you can't do that, because sexual harassment is completely different from rape. And by the time the arbitrator was going to give his, you know, decision, he said sexual harassment. I was like, okay, why were we talking about rape? You know, going back and forth, using rape in place of sexual harassment. I feel like they should have just chosen one and stuck with it all through. Tomkele, who played Adesua's lawyer, let our emotions get the better part of her in deciding whether our client, Adesua, should take a settlement offer or not. And I was like, okay, that is ethics 101. Your emotions have absolutely no place in your client's situation. If a settlement looks like the best offer, then you should offer it to your client, regardless of what you're feeling. But you could tell that she even expressed, even Adesua, the client, had to say, okay, why are you so emotional about it, or something like that. And so, you know, legally, that's unacceptable. And then the fact that by the end of the day, they didn't even now explain to us what our own thing was, why she was drinking Panadol for another person's headache. Do you understand what I'm saying? And of course, we're talking about how they ended up in arbitration, and it was because, you know, she reported it to the police, and the police said because she was his mistress, she can't be raped. And just the technical aspect of it just didn't completely make sense to a legal mind. If there are any lawyers out there, they have seen it, I think I'm wrong, well, please explain. You know, that's why, once again, I'm giving it a 4/5. I think it was a brilliant movie. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you again next time. Mwah. Remaining God bless you. Bye-bye.